بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير.
Hello, I'm Lauren Howie, and I'm going to present some of my work. I am an animator, illustrator, and aspiring game developer. The first piece was an animation I made about 3.5 years ago, and it was really a basis for the work that I've started to do now. I've moved from making animations into making more interactive media, and right now I'm in pre-production for a video game. So I thought that I would show some of the assets and the environment work and some character work that I've done for the game so far, and some other visual development, and then a few little snippets of programming for the game. On the screen now, there is a environment, a level that I built in Unity, and it was all 2D assets in a 3D environment. So that was kind of the first time I was happy with how you can move through the space with one of these side-scroller Unity projects I'd made. One of the reasons that I switched from making animations to working in some more interactive media and now making games is that I felt that, for one, the animations were roping me into this more linear way of telling stories. So I decided with the video game, there's a lot more freedom and more space for a kind of simulation. With the animation, interactions are not so much like scripted dialogue, but they're extracting resources from the environment, refining them, and then bringing them along to a next step in a pipeline. So a lot of my animations ended up being people working on things and then passing them off to someone else. And I realized that I was interested in the economy and imagining, okay, so what do multilateral trade agreements look like in this world? And what does the protection of all of these idle trade agreements look like? What does an investor-state dispute settlement look like? And I was really interested, especially in this idea of it being kind of low technology, but also really fantastical. So there are these couriers that are the vehicles of information in that world that are kind of taking inspiration from more sci-fi stories where they're kind of data running and spaceships across the universe, but in this case, there's one planet involved at this point. So these are a few of the character concepts. When I'm working in 2D, I tend to be a lot more colorful. So I've been trying to figure out how to keep that same level of color when it goes from 2D to 3D and still have it be able to integrate into the environment. Some of the in the outfits and the masks is inspired by Gungun masqueraders from Yoruba culture in Nigeria. And as an African American, I was really interested in having some of the aesthetics and some of the background of this planet be connected to my own ancestry and to help me have this kind of journey of discovery back into predominantly West African culture. These charts are kind of sketches of finite state machines that might help me plan out how the really rudimentary artificial intelligence in the game would interact with this economy. So there are all these kind of preconditions that need to be met for an animation to play, and when that animation plays, then another step in this production process has finished. So I was really trying to plan out how those environments could be laid out. There are a lot of ideas just floating in the ether behind this work, and I kind of keep a document that has a lot of quotes and happenings that are going on in the world that I feel like have a lot to do with what I'm exploring in the work. Now, this is the newest animation that I've created. It's got a kind of stop motion feel, but it's all digital. And the characters are rigged and animated by me, so they've kind of got like a rudimentary range of motion, but they do both have forward and inverse kinematics on their legs and arms, although it can be a little janky. So I have some images of the rigs, and also I'm just pretty happy with this piece because I feel like It brings together the characters and some environment stuff that I'd been working on. It all fits together pretty succinctly. I just need to find a way to get a little more color in it, and I'll be quite happy. And the characters in that piece had their beginnings in this drawing, which has really informed a lot of my other character creation work. It's about 3 years old, I think. And here are the rigs. The rigs, as I said, they're pretty rudimentary, but they do what I need them to do. And some still images of the same rig. Although it's kind of about time for me to build a new one. This one I made maybe almost 4 years ago, and I've just kept it around. And lastly, I thought I could show some of the work that's gone into programming for the game. So I want the user to be able to have a really hands-on experience with the player avatar. So I came up with a way to have user-created animations in the game, and this was my one of my first successful attempts. So that kind of matrix of different colors back there are all different frames, and as the user creates different keyframes by moving around their mouse, they can affect what animation is being played on those legs. And yeah, I was really happy when I got that working. And here is my latest kind of skeleton. It's basically a rig, but that I have programmed inside of Unity. So I guess I was working up to this for about a year. So this is like 2019 gave me this. And in 2020, I've gotten a little more back into the aesthetics of what the world will look like. I'm really happy with the user's ability to kind of interact with the player character and also move through the world. And I've done a few demos for an interaction system. So that's coming along as well. And also kind of the inputs. So right now you're able to move the character around with a mouse, but I am trying to use Unity's new, well, I guess it's a few months old now, input system so that it would be even easier to have him move around with a joystick and controller. So I'm really excited about getting that put together. So I plan to share my process with the development on my Instagram, and I'll be starting a devlog soon.